All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone on this call today. Thank you so much for joining our March virtual user group. We are so excited to have you all here. Today, we'll be going over data intelligence and trading partner manager. What's new in trading partner manager? We're excited to share some really exciting new features there with you. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we begin. The chat is open today. You can chat with any of the panelists here today. Additionally, our Q&A function is ready to go. So if you have a question, go ahead, drop it in there. We'll either answer it live or answer it over the chat. Additionally, after this session concludes, you will get an email with the recording of that session. Hopefully in the next week, you can expect that. It'll also be on our new community. So if you haven't checked out our community yet, that is a great place to be able to get the recordings for previous virtual user groups. After the session closes, you'll be asked to go to a survey link where you can fill out a survey with your feedback for this virtual user group. My name is Hannah Knox. I work in IBI's marketing org. I'm filling in for Shay Bagwell while she's out on maternity leave, so you can expect to see her around here again soon. Today on the call with me, I have Santosh Patihari and Corneliu, and also Joe Vogel, who will be answering questions here at the end. So let's jump into a few quick marketing updates. If you haven't already checked out our new website, I know that we've been shouting about it a lot. Go check it out. It is a great resource to find all of your information on the different products that we offer, our data sheets, access to our community, new events that we have in the area. So go ahead and check it out and let us know what you think. Additionally, we launched a new community in the last couple of months. We've had excellent participation from all of you there. We're so excited that you guys are excited, and we're really enjoying being able to get into the forums and open up discussions with you all and get feedback on the different things that you're interested in learning more about in our products. We have a last call for Boston Summit, some excellent sessions there coming up soon. Boston Summit is on April 11th. Registration does close this upcoming Monday, April 1st. We have just a couple of spots left. We're really, really, really looking forward to seeing you all there. So if you still want to go and you haven't registered, get to our website, our events page, and register for Boston Summit before it's completely full. Additionally, you can see you could expect to see that Summit Arlington's registration will be open very, very soon. On the day of these events, you'll have hands-on labs, product-led breakout sessions, an expert room that's just packed with IBI experts who are there to answer your questions in the product and work through your deployments with you. So it's going to be a good time. We also have 2 additional stops on this Summit Roadshow. We'll have a stop in Chicago in August and a stop in New York City in October. It's going to be great. We're looking forward to seeing you all there. You can check out our upcoming virtual events for 2024 on our website at ibi.com/events. And if you aren't already with us on social media, get on out there. We have some good stuff there. And yeah, we'll see you there. Thank you for attending. I'm going to pass it off to Santosh now. And again, please feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A bar at the bottom of your Zoom. Thanks.
Thank you, Hannah. Good segue here. We are really excited to be back on the road for Boston Summit. I want to give you a sneak preview of what we are going to cover in the Data Intelligence Lab. Let me try and quickly share that screen with you. All right. This is the DQ workshop that we are going to conduct on site. Steve Dewitt is going to lead that session. I'll be also helping him virtually. We'll go through a quick walkthrough. We've heard we got a lot of feedback on how do we write custom DQ logic, how do we operationalize it in the new IBI Data Intelligence's DQ engine. So we will go through this quick agenda where we'll show you how to write your custom DQ scripts. We'll deploy that script, we'll register it, we'll run through a couple of different flavors of creating rules using that DQ service. We'll be able to upload data. We'll be able to profile, classify, and we'll go through the whole consumer side and the producer side of stories and bridge those together into a complete DQ workflow session. So we are going to be very excited to have you on site. Please let us know through the community forum if you would like any specific topics on DQ that you would like to cover in that session or otherwise. So, all right. Switching to the topic of today's virtual user group. So today we are here because we want to do a technical deep dive of our latest trading partner manager. It's an application that is part of our IBI data intelligence offering that facilitates data exchange in a digital ecosystem. Now, what does that mean? Um, I try to I try to explain this, and the simplest way I can do it in a real. I'll take a real world example. Suppose we get into a business relationship with a partner, and we do not have any contract to formalize that relationship. What are the problems we'll see if we don't have an established contract with your business partner? How would we hold each other accountable? What are the expectations in terms of the goods and services and transactions? Should I deliver the goods every month, every quarter? What are my payment terms? What are the penalties associated with non-performance by either party? So if you take that real life example where you get into a contract with a business partner, you can start to see how contracts enforce accountability, help establish expectations, help you manage risk. So trading partner manager plays that pivotal role helping businesses manage contracts for exchanging data in a digital ecosystem. So it helps businesses set expectations. What messages, what kind of message formats are expected? What are the delivery mechanisms? What are the acknowledgement protocols? Where are the messages coming from? Where are they being routed? How are they being processed? All of this information is now securely stored in a trading partner manager that helps you streamline your partner onboarding process as well as ongoing maintenance processes. So with this very brief intro, I will hand it over to our resident expert, Cornelio. He has some interesting content. He'll walk you through the core concepts. He'll introduce you to the new features. We just launched our new Trading Partner Manager, latest release of Trading Partner Manager. He'll walk you through all the new features, the new UIs, API services, and so on. And then towards the middle part, you'll be able to see the product in action. He'll demonstrate the product and he'll pick up a few simple use cases to demonstrate how you can use Trading Partner Manager to manage different partner profiles and create a repository for digital data exchange. So with that, I will hand it over to you, Cornelio. Take it away.
Yes, thank you. So, first, let's talk about the role of TPM in B2B data exchange. Trading Partner Manager, or for short TPM, is an important component of the IBI stack. It is important to understand, first of all, that Trading Partner Manager can facilitate seamless management of trading partners for B2B data exchange. In itself, TPM is a centralized transaction profile manager, or if you want a trading configuration manager repository. And its main purpose is to store structured routing configuration data that can facilitate processing engine to route messages or information through the transformation steps from one partner or source to an endpoint. That can be a partner or anything that can consume the processed information. In this sense, any transaction processing engine can make use of TPM structured and highly customizable configuration data. And within IBI stack or realm, TPM is used in conjunction with ISM, which is IBI's integration solution. which plays, amongst many other things, the role of the trading message processing engine. Some of the most notable key features of TPM are that it's a single source of truth, partners along with meaningful customizable details as well as exchange routing information configurations are stored in a single secure place and accessible to all components of the B2B ecosystem via either REST API calls or direct database access. TPM also monitors configuration data changes for auditing purposes that can possibly be used to track interactions between partners, as well as for data forensics. Automated processing facilitates simplified data mapping for data exchange, processing, and transaction, facilitates CI/CD integration for situations where multi-stage partner route adoption process is necessary. And of course, not last is the fact that it implements a security measures to safeguard sensitive configuration data. So TPM offers, in this respect, an important number of benefits. For instance, the reducing of manual effort for partner onboarding, routing profiles, and the associated maintenance processes. TPM, in this sense, can lead to adoption of best practice standards to ensure processing consistency. TPM can also help in improving efficiency through automation of repetitive tasks like configuration transfers between systems, adoption of new partners or message exchange between partners, CI/CD integration for profile transitions from development to production. TPM fosters better collaboration and communication with and between trading partners, leading to stronger relationships based on confidence, potentially contributing to increased business exchanges, and fosters integration of strong security measures and compliance requirements into the routing process. I should mention here the fact that TPM, as a standalone product, exposes functionality through a REST API interface, which makes it a perfect candidate for situations where scaling and performance are paramount, like cloud native setups or environments, or simply as a plugin to a REST client-enabled application. TPM as a whole is an important piece to enabling and or facilitating a number of features essential in data message communication between any two parties. TPM can simplify the partner onboarding process and manage partner profiles, configuration management of transactions, message transit transformation standards and formats, exchange protocols, as well as any other business-related configuration. In this sense, TPM has the flexibility to adapt to any configuration situations, whereas it is an EDI application or any other application in need of configuration management. TPM also facilitates automated communication between partners by allowing the identification of the proper route a message or a document has to transition through once in the pipeline between the incoming to the outgoing partner. Thus, orders, invoices, payments, processing errors, updates, alerts can be transited to the proper communication channels and reach the destination channel in the format determined by a pre-established contract or protocol. In this sense, partner communication networks of any complexity can be easily achievable. One other important aspect of any B2B environment is data visibility and monitoring, where TPM can bring important contributions by increased visibility into data flows, where data comes from, how it is processed, and where it is routed, transaction processing like failure, success, remediation, handling, as well as performance metrics like measure efficiency, speed, etc. Another area where TPM can play an important role is security and compliance enforcement. TPM is designed with scalability and flexibility in mind. TPM being a central routing configuration repository and not just a tied-down implementation of an application-specific routing mechanism, it can play an important role in the seamless adoption of new business requirements and accommodate to growing partner networks and data volumes. Here is this slide represents a simplified, one second. This slide represents a simplified high-level view of a business route. Each end of a business route is defined by three components. The first component is the partner, the sending partner, and the receiving partner, which by the way, can be anything that can generate or receive messages, not necessarily strictly a business partner. The second component is the system, which typically is a physical end system, like a machine, an application. You can think of it like as an ISM listener waiting for data to be received from a partner. And this system can send or receive messages on behalf of a partner. An incoming system, it's usually responsible for pumping the incoming message into the processing engine or pipeline. And an outgoing system is responsible for receiving the outgoing message at the end of the processing pipeline and send it to the outgoing partner. And finally, the third component is the message type being processed. Know that this is not the message itself, it is the type of message, since messages can have different data, of course, can comprise different data, but the essential part here is the message type. Okay, so the triplet partner message type system defines one end of the route, or what we call a channel. Okay, so two such triplets completely define the incoming and outgoing channels of a given route. Okay, now in reality, as we'll see shortly, there are more types of entities which are used by TPM to completely describe a route. Now, under the hood, TPM consists of several major components. Relational database, and currently we support SQL Server, Oracle, and Postgres. Of course, the TPM console business logic to implement the functionality on top of the data model, a browser-based UI for managing data, and this provides an intuitive and contextual access to all data and the relationships established between the various parts that constitute the route and the connected partners. And it also allows the definition of extended customizations for the existing domains to fit any message routing configuration needs, which is a very important feature that we'll discuss later. Access to data and the underlying capabilities is supported through a REST API interface. And while all functionality that you see in this snapshot is exposed and supported through REST, the REST API component on this slide represents the REST API proper, which facilitates access to the underlying data and functionality according to strict REST API design patterns. Runtime functions, and here I'll have to delve a little bit into the idea and give you a little bit of background into what an IFL function is. So IFL functions are functions, embedded functions, so originally embedded functions into the ISM server. So these functions allow access for scripting purposes to the underlying capabilities provided by ISM. Now, such set of functions was provided for TPM. Now, ISM was originally the de facto TPM server. And since we strive to completely have, and currently is TPM server a standalone server, so no longer tied to ISM, we also want to provide the same functionality to any REST client that can make can make use of IFL runtime functions. So these runtime functions are the counterparts, TPM server counterpart of the IFL functions provided by the ISM server. So ISM server still supports those functions. So whatever you already have in terms of flows that use those functions, it still works, currently works. Now, another important component of this is the import-export capabilities that can be used in different scenarios. These essentially facilitate data move between two different TPM repositories. And therefore they can be import-export can be used in various number of scenarios, as I specified earlier, CI/CD situations, templating, which is a feature that is going to come soon, and all sorts of other automation situations. And finally, configuration audit that facilitates access to reports to data change history. Now, I have to bring up the UI. Just 1 second, you'll have to bear with me. I had some problems, and I'll try to restore some of my... Okay, so here is a Trading Partner Manager application. And this demo, and first of all, let me say, wait. Okay, and this uses database with fictitious partners, and it covers a scenario where a retail store has several product suppliers like clothing, appliances, tires, tools, furniture, etc. The retail store and the suppliers are partners exchanging trading information governed by different standards. But okay, so this is a relatively simple scenario, but you can think of more complex scenarios. So let's think of a real world example, like for instance, Macy's, Macy's stores where each department or can have limited autonomy in ordering products from various suppliers. I'm just using Macy's as an idea of how big retailers is structured. This doesn't imply that Macy's works this way. Okay. In this case, a department can be considered as a partner, and of course, the headquarters or Macy's itself, it can be considered as a parent partner of all these departments. Moreover, each department can have multiple physical locations that can order products through the headquarters department to restock or provide for any other business needs. Each physical location can be seen in itself as an internal partner that communicates with the headquarters department to rebalance the stock or to do any other transactions that need to be subject to various accountability procedures governing internal trading and communication. So in this scenario, we already have 4 tiers. So we have the Macy's store, we have the departments, headquarter departments, and we have the physical locations, and also have the trading partners for Macy's itself, the product suppliers in this case. So TPM can be used in such an instance as well. But before we jump into the hands-on demo, I have to mention that TPM makes extensive use of the concept of domain, which maps to the idea of type. A domain refers to a type of entity, and an entity can be a partner, a domain, a route, or anything that is manipulated through TPM. Now back to the UI. TPM UI has two major functional areas, the area groups. One is the administration group, which includes administration of users' roles, metadata configuration, LDAP, and communication connectivity management with LDAP and the database, the underlying database. Yes, indeed, we support, besides base authentication, we support LDAP authentication. And finally, the auditing area. But we'll come here again later. Now, the other major area is the domains itself, or the entity management, where you can create, visualize, and modify components of a message route. This can be split into groups. One group is quasi-static. There are quasi-static domains, which are foundational elements for partner and route definition, and that comprises environment, system, message, and standards. And the other one, which is more dynamic, is partners and routes. These elements have been arranged in the UI in such, not necessarily in functional order, but rather in usage order for practicality reasons. Okay. Now let's see the domains themselves. So we have environments, and environments as top entities can be considered as represent, I would say, logical residing realms for routes. Typical example, it's a CI/CD workflow where you can have development, QA, production, testing, performance. Well, QA and testing would be the same thing anyway. Or no, in fact, yeah, you can have quality assurance and system testing. So it all depends on your environment. You can have one, you can have many such environments. So now the next component is systems, and systems are children, direct children of environments. And the system, as I mentioned before, can represent end systems like machines or applications that can send and or process messages on behalf of a partner. Okay, and then systems, here the UI offers for a quick preview what partners are connected to these systems. So for instance, we go here, we say that Ethereal AS2 has two partners that are using this system to receive or send messages. Okay. And there is, like for other entities, a standard set of fields. In this case, we have, and if we look under the hood a bit, you can have you have the system name. Every entity, every domain instance in TPM has to be a named entity, a type, and we'll look into it a little later, and the environment which this system belongs, and of course a description. Now, these domains are extensible, and we'll look into the extensibility feature a little later. But right now we are just looking to the standard set of, or let's say, default set of properties exposed by every single domain. And the next top-level entity is, or domain, is standards, which is very self-explanatory. You can use any number of standards in your system, and they have to be declared here. And the standards are parents of message formats and message types, which we'll look a little later. Now, direct children of standards are also code substitutions. Yes. So let's look at one that has more code substitutions. This code substitution is a mapping between the codes that belong to two different standards. So if you want to convert, for instance, from UNI-CFAC 380 code to OYOX XML to Pi, you will have to have this mapping into your system. Okay. And finally, the last foundational element is, or elements is, are the message formats, and message formats are direct children of the standards. As you can see here, each message format is part of a standard. And each message format can also define message types. And if you remember from one of the slides I presented, the message type is one of the components that define the identity of an endpoint of a route. Okay, and here you can insert or you can add all the message types you want or plan to be handled by your route. Okay, now let's move to the other area, the partners. The partners screen, as you see, contains more information, standard information. You can for instance, limit the number of default fields that are shown in this screen. And there are different other things that can help you navigating through the list of partners. But let's first look at the partner definition. So a partner has a name and all the other fields are optional. But a good practice would dictate to provide some extra information for a partner. So it's nothing really out of this world with a partner. Now let's look at the children of a partner. So one direct children of a partner is partner system. So partner can have multiple partner systems. And why is that? I would say is because a partner can provide different kinds of messages and they can be individually or resolved in groups by different systems, by different applications. So for instance, you want an application to receive AS2 protocol messages, where you want another application to listen to SFTP incoming messages. So you can tailor it any way you feel fit and that to feel fit for your business. Now, partner system messages. As I explained earlier, they are also named entities. They have a type, and we'll see it later, the domain and the code. Of course, these fields are totally optional, but they can be used, for instance, for selecting you know, if you want for tagging purposes or for any other purpose that you may need. For instance, you want to uniquely identify a partner system just using the domain and the code. So you don't really need the name of the partner system, but you'd rather need the domain and the code itself. Now, and finally, the system, you can pick up of the list of all systems that we defined previously. Now, a partner system can have multiple partner system messages, and as I showed in the previous slide, the partner system message defines the channel. So there is an input channel and an output channel for a route. This time, the creation of new partner business business channels, it's a slightly different process than just creating a simple entity like inputting the properties. And the reason is that the combination of a partner system and message type has to be unique. Therefore, this screen that you see here is a synopsis. In other words, it shows you all the possible messages that you still have, you didn't use yet. So for instance, here is the input side, the input channel. And if we look at this list here, you'll see two input channels already used for this format. Now, if we do a quick search for this one. Oh, no, this is the other password. You will see that message type 80 or 852 or 850 are no longer in this list of messages because they have already been used. So we prevent through this mechanism double creation or double entity, or we create where we try to keep okay, so the uniqueness, abide by the uniqueness rules of a business channel. Now here in this screen, you can define multiple business channels in a single shot, input business channels and output business channels. So you can select what messages you want, and they can be easily created and used later on. Now, business channels, being end entities, they can also provide metadata. So, for instance, one metadata that can be attached to a business channel is, for instance, processing flow inside ISM. Who is processing that message? I mean, once the message has been captured by the system, you need a processing flow to route that message through the processing route. Okay, so and another shell component of a partner is a partner contact. This is quite simple, so you can attach any number of contacts to a partner. There are two important, more relevant fields that I would notice here. I would note here is the fact that this contact is a primary contact, and if the contact wants to be notified about changes in the system, so this would give the indication to the processing agent that notifications have to be sent to this specific partner. Now let's delve into the routes. The routes are split into categories: advanced routes and basic routes. Well, advanced routes is the complete form of a route, whereas basic route is a simplified route which only can connect to partners. There is no, so there, if you want, the business channels are implied, message types are implied. So in other words, this creates a direct connection between two partners. There is no idea of message type. It's a mapping between two partners. And there they can have code substitutions. And well, I didn't populate any for this because they are also part of the advanced business routes. But in essence, code substitutions take care of a situation where, let's say, you have two partners, partner A and partner B. Partner B knows partner A as X and it knows itself as Y. So you have such mapping where two different partners have different names for each other, and also adjust or can provide support for identification for finding a route based on the original the domain of the route and the code and the code. Okay. Now let's go back to advanced routes since this is the complete form of a route. An advanced route has, let's pick this one. It needs more information to be fully defined. So for instance, of course, it is a named entity, therefore has a name, has a type. It belongs to an environment. And here is the side, the part where we define the from or the input part of a route. And here is where we define the output part of a route. So here, in this case, this route connects the ethereal attire, which is a provider, clothing provider. And this is using the business channel, which is defined for message type 852 in the message format EDX 12.410. And it's this message is being captured or initially handled by ethereal attire AS2 system. Now the output part similarly contains the output partner and the format of the message that is being received by the output system. Now we have the same idea of a code substitution. Okay, so now a quick preview shows us the code substitutions that are available. In this sense, again, I did not define anything for this case. In fact, I have another database with more data, but I'll have to bring it up. So perhaps I'll do that a little later. And again, advanced routes, they have route contacts, and these contacts for an advanced route, for instance, okay, we can, okay, route contacts. Okay, so what it asks us is to create for these routes, for these partners, contacts. Okay, so we have ethereal attire and reverie couture, and we go in ethereal attire. And oh, and we have for reverie couture, we have to create a partner. and we say new partner, contact name, no, primary contact. You can say false, you can say true, okay, and save. And then we go here, ethereal attire. Okay, and this page emporium. I'm not sure exactly for which one I created. Okay, so here we have the contact we created previously. So again, here for route contacts, the contacts can belong to the input partner or to the output partner. So it's a conjunction of two partner contact sets. Okay, so we can add this, and we'll have a new contact. Now, next, what I'd like to show to you is the administration side, where first of all, we have to look to metadata configuration. So you have data type configuration. So whenever you define a new property for a domain like partner, you may want to have that property of a specific type. Here is a list of predefined types, product comes with, so they are default. You can add here any number of types you want. But now let's look at one central component of the product, and this is metadata data configuration and type extensibility. So as you know, we have the regular types, partners, partner contacts, and all the ones that I mentioned before, which come with a default set of properties. Okay, now what you do if you want, what are you going to do if you want extra properties that are specific to your business? Then in such case, you create new extension types. And the extension types themselves, they are extra sets of properties, name sets of properties that can be attached to an entity of a specific domain. So here I define 4 different types that can extend any of the partners in the system. And so, for instance, this type defines a single property, which is of type string. This type defines 6 properties, okay? This type defines 1 property. This type doesn't define any property. So you can have types without properties. And in this case, these types can be used as tagging types. In other words, you want a partner or an entity have a specific meaning, but you don't want to associate, or you don't need to associate with that a specific property. So in this case, you just create an extension type with no properties. And now the same thing, it's applicable to all these domain types you see here. Let's quickly look at systems. So here you'll see 2 types of systems, AS2 and SFTP, each of them defining its own set of properties. And okay, let's keep in mind these 2, AS2 receiver and SFTP receiver. One defines 1 property, one defines 6 properties. Now let's go back to partners and look at this specific partner here let's edit the partner first. And you'll see here that this partner, besides the default set of properties, it also brings in the properties offered by this extension types, AS2 receiver and AS2 sender. Now, these properties can be edited in the metadata section, and here you'll see the properties that belong to each of the extension types. And here you can assign values. So this is the place where you, in fact, let's say you instantiate these properties. A quicker way to view this data is by expanding this drop-down list, and you can see the properties that we just visualized through metadata edit. Now you can have more properties. Let's say, for instance, in this guy here, in this partner, this partner is being extended by 5 different types, and here is all set of properties. Now let's look a little bit to the metadata section. And you'll see here just 3 types, properties of 3 types. Why is that? Is because out of all the 5 types this instance has, just 3 of the extension types provide properties. The other 2 types are just markers. So therefore, we don't show them here since they are not needed here in the properties section. So this offers you the extensibility, which again, it's available in almost all other entities. Here, if we go to edit, we can add, okay, here we just show the default type. The default type, it's currently a type that doesn't have any properties, but even the default type can have properties. It can be used like a generic, if you want, extension type. Let's take a quick peek. So I want to look in users and roles. These are standard things. The same thing for LDAP configuration and database configuration. I'll jump right into the admin session for audit logging. Here you can see the whole list of people that logged into the system and whether the authentication was successful or and the time of the request and the address where this request was made. Now, the next one is domains. Domains auditing means you want to create a report for the default set of properties for all the given entities into the system. So these reports can be narrowed down to, for instance, a specific time field, time span can be narrowed down by action, what happened to that specific entity, whether it was added, edited, or deleted. The user that performed the action or the entity which you want to visualize. And let's look a bit in the system area. And we'll have here a list of changes that have been brought to the system. So there is a color code here where green represents an addition, blue represents a change in one of the properties of that system. And delete, we don't have any delete in this particular case, but that's marked with red. The same thing, it's true for metadata, so we can audit the extended properties. And it contains the same exact set of selection criteria. And for instance, if we run this quickly for partner, we see here that when these partners were added, when the values were changed, and all the, for instance, the values here are changes, okay, and all these, the green ones are new additions. So this is regarding, um, 1 second, please, bear with me. Okay, now I'm gonna start another server, another TPM server, because I would like to demo for you the import export feature, which I mentioned earlier. It's one important part of the system. And for this purpose, I'm gonna go to another address.
Cyprian, sorry to interrupt you. We'll probably need to wrap up in the next couple of minutes if you can.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll try to be okay. So then,
yeah, the 1 hour.
Maybe I'll
really
just
fast.
touch it quickly. Okay, I'll just touch it quickly. Okay, so we have partners. So partner is okay. I'll explain. Give a short explanation, high-level explanation. Okay, so let me move to another slide. This slide explains how import-export is being handled. Every dotted rectangle represents an import-export domain. So there can be individual exports for properties or exports for entities, or entities with children can be exported along with their children. So as you can see, the import-export is very domain-oriented. Okay, and import, on the other hand, can import from an exported set, a complex exported set, either just the main entity or can import the main entity along with its children. The imports are checked, so we make sure that all referential integrity is being respected. We can, as I said, allow partial imports. And then there is also the question, what happens for a more complex scenario? In this case, we have complex imports and exports. So an export will package multiple elementary imports and then exports. And on import, these will be read one by one. For instance, a scenario where you want to export a partner along with its business routes and connected partners will mean that you have to first export the partner with its children, the business routes, concerning business routes and linked partners. Okay, so in the UI, the export is handled in this section. So you have export of just this entity or this entity with dependents. Here, this is a more complex export. Once you select to have this export, you'll first be presented with a synopsis screen where you have all the elements of the export. And then if you choose to save, this data is going to be saved into into a file. Later on, you can go back to your other system and you can trigger the import. We won't import it here because this is the same system. It doesn't make sense, but you can choose to import that entity, either just the entity or import it with dependents. And you can choose the file from here and you say open, and then you can save it. And this will import the property. So I'm not sure how far more do you want me, Santosh, to go. I mean, should I show any other?
Let's go ahead and answer the question that's in the Q&A chat. And then
Okay.
after we've answered that, if there's a bit more that you two would like to cover, we can go over, and anyone who needs to drop off can drop off from a guest perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, so the question is the visibility and monitoring in TPM comparable to BAM, Business Activity Monitor? If so, will BAM then fall away? Answer is the TPM and BAM are totally different products. TPM, if we take this last hour and summarize it, it's basically a tool that manipulates the database and creates models and dependencies. And it can be used in an ESB to determine context of a document for where it came from, validation, and also where it's going and what rules to apply, et cetera, et cetera. BAM itself is, hey, I'm on the bus, and at this particular time, I want to look at the document, and at a different time, I want to see what all the registers are, what the current state of the document was in one or more places in the bus. So they're not really related. In 2024, we're going to be doing a lot of work in BAM. Monitoring is going to be a big part of iWave moving forward to make our offering a lot more easy to use and scalable. So you could look forward to that in the future version, iWave 9.2 and above. Hopefully that answers the question. Okay, great.
Okay. Maybe we have time for a quick demo with ISM working in conjunction with TPM.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so here is ISM. And we have here a scenario where someone drops a document into a folder, which is being watched by this listener. The document, it's an XML document, and we seek to transform it to an X12 EDI document using X12 batching. So there are two listeners in the system. The first one is looking for the XML document, and upon receiving the XML document, it's putting this document on the bus. This document is then forwarded to it's used by the XML X12 flow, which reads the document, transfers the document, validates the document. And in the end, well, there are many steps here, but in the end, this will result in several fields in an underlying database, X12 specific tables in a database. Here, this item will show, for instance, the use of a TPA function, which is TPM IFL function, and the purpose of this call here is for the input partner to extract the ID of the parent partner. This parent partner is later used by the X12 badging. Now, the other listener is looking to the database to find new records, and once it finds the new records, it packages these records into an EDI output file. This flow, which is being invoked by the X12 batching listener, also uses another TPM function. And this is the same TPA function, which this time uses the parent ID extracted in the previous step to get the parent name in order to generate the output file. And let me see if I can run this scenario. Now, there are a lot more other components of e-business here that are used and come as connectors and are provided by ISM, which is very important to note, because ISM provides out of the box a lot of functionality that you don't have to write yourself, like these transformers and transformers of many types, and data processing for your business needs. Okay, now the server started. And okay, so I said we have one of the listeners listens to a document that has to be dropped in a location, and this is where the document can be dropped. Okay, the listener picked up the document. What it did, it archived the document for reference. Okay, and then also created a report about the document. It's also XML format. And then in the end, the second flow generated the EDI document for the input for the dropped-in document. Okay, so this is a quick scenario that can show you the usefulness and the interaction, some of the interactions between iWay and TPM. Another demo I'd like to give is calling IFL functions using REST calls. For instance, in this REST call, we try to bring for partner ID2 the name. We want to check the name. So this is the equivalent of one of the functions that you have seen earlier, except that that function was a built-in IFL function. This is a TPM provided IFL function that can be called by any REST client. The same thing can be done, for instance, for extended properties. Remember, this was defined earlier as an extended property of a partner, and we'll try to check this one and see and check out the value. And indeed, we get back the value of that specific property. We have more complex scenarios. For instance, we can, or other scenarios, given the partner name, we want to bring in the partner ID, which can be used for later processing where the ID of a partner is required. And now you see that this is a list of IDs, and these IDs can be determined by this comparison operator. Since it is unequal, there can be only one entity, but if the operator changes, we can bring a larger list of IDs. And there are many other functions that can be used in this case. For instance, if you want to bring okay, so you have to bring a partner. You want to identify a partner by the code domain and the specific code. You can do this. So these are functions that were required by the field and were embedded into the product for obvious reasons. So, there are more things to show, but unfortunately we don't have time. So for every single entity, we have the functionality that we need to provide. Also, import export, it's also attached. It's also approached here. Now, regarding that, I want to quickly show you another feature the product has right into the UI, but also as a server can provide access to Swagger documentation. You can produce a Swagger API document that you can import in any Swagger or Open API tool. And here you have the whole list of REST requests and data structure that are expected by REST or returned by these REST calls. You can also go ahead and, for instance, test these REST calls. We can quickly try this one. We will get a 401, which means that we are not authorized to make this call, and we'll simply go to authenticate ourselves, authorize, okay? And now we execute again this request, and you will see the curl equivalent request. So in case you want to with curl, use you see the whole request URL, and of course the return for produced by this request. This is a very cool feature since any developer can use it, and you can quickly see what's going on under the hood with descriptions for all these functions and for the respective data structures. Yes, so I think there are other things that we can demo, but I think it's perhaps for this session it's enough. So if there are any more questions.
That was great. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? Or anything, Santosh or Joe, that you guys want to add?
No, that was great. Thank you, Super.
And that was great.
Thank you.
This actually, what we're showed here today is available now, today. It was released a couple months ago, so it is production. So.
Oh, maybe one thing perhaps it's worth mentioning, which I forgot, and I'm sorry, my bad, is a set of new upcoming features. We will soon provide templating to support easier domain onboarding or routes creation, a HTTP TPM client wrapper to invoke, or REST actually, if you want TPM client wrapper to invoke TPM functionality from ISM to make access to TPM a lot easier. We continue to expand our API with to expose more aspects as they come in, or as they may be requested by the field, by different needs in the field. And of course, expand the set of composite import-export scenarios with more scenarios as necessary. And maybe at some point in the future to have a way to describe these scenarios, to have like a pseudo language that would get here. But this is something it's not in the immediate future. So this is, yes, so this is one last addition which I wanted to make.
Great. Thank you guys so much. This was a great presentation. Again, to all of you who have attended today, thank you so much for coming. After you exit this webinar, you will get a link to a survey. Please go ahead and fill it out. Let us know what your thoughts were on the session, what you'd like to see in our next sessions. Also, if you are planning on attending one of our Summit Roadshow events, please let us know in that survey that you'll be there, and head to our events page on ibi.com to go ahead and register. Actually, in the time that we've been live here on the webinar, I did see that registration did open for Summit Arlington. So please go ahead, check that out and sign up, and we hope to see you there. You could expect to get the webinar recording in your inbox sometime in the next week. And until next time, we will see you in the community. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.